The recording without me. I found the recording by accident. That's the part that bothers me most. Not that it existed, but that I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't searching the archive. I wasn't reviewing files. I wasn't even in the room. I was cleaning. Going through old folders, consolidating storage, preparing to disconnect everything for good. I wanted the equipment gone, the files gone. I wanted fewer places for silence to settle. That's when I saw it. Room tone master. Wave. The name didn't follow the pattern. No suffix, no numbers, no variation, just a declaration. Master. I hovered over it for a long time before opening it. Something about the file felt heavier than the others, not metaphorically. The system lagged when I selected it, like it was larger than it should be. The duration read 21 minutes. That alone made no sense. I had never recorded a room tone session that long without presence. 20 minutes is excessive. You don't need that much silence unless you're planning to disappear inside it. I put on the headphones. The recording began with a room I recognized immediately. Same dimensions, same acoustic fingerprint, same low electrical hum buried beneath the noise floor. It was my room, but I wasn't in it. There was no breathing, no movement, no subtle sounds of a body existing quietly. Just the room, recording itself. At first, I assumed I simply hadn't entered yet, that this was the lead-in. I waited for the sound of the door, footsteps, fabric shifting. Nothing came. 5 minutes passed. The room tone remained perfectly consistent. No rhythm, no adjustment, no anticipation. It wasn't waiting for me. It didn't expect me. That realization sat with me in a way the other contradictions hadn't. This wasn't a version where I acted differently. This was a version where I never arrived. I scrubbed through the timeline. At no point did I enter. The room existed for the full duration without interruption. Silence, stable and complete. Not empty, complete. I felt something tighten in my chest that had nothing to do with fear. It was exclusion. I listened again, this time more carefully. The room tone wasn't flat. It had depth. Layers I hadn't noticed before, subtle variations that suggested internal structure, like a system running without external input. This wasn't a space waiting to be occupied. It was already settled. Halfway through the recording, something changed. Not audibly at first. I noticed it in my body before I heard it. A sense of misalignment, like my breathing no longer fit the room I was listening to. Then I heard it. A faint shift in the noise floor. Not a sound, a rebalancing, as if the room was compensating for something that wasn't there. For me. The room tone deepened slightly, then stabilized again. It felt like a decision. I checked the file metadata. No creation date, no device source, no location data. But there was one field filled in. Occupancy. Confirmed. I stared at that line longer than I should have. Confirmed by what? There was no one in the recording, unless occupancy didn't mean presence, unless it meant suitability. I listened through the entire file again, start to finish, without stopping. By the end, I felt calmer than I had in weeks. That scared me more than anything else so far. The room without me felt right, balanced, like it wasn't missing anything. I tried to remember when I could have recorded it. There was no gap in my memory large enough to account for 21 minutes of absence. No lost time, no missing evening, no unexplained lapse. I was always somewhere, always present, except here. That night, I sat in the room with the equipment powered off and listened to the space directly. No headphones, no interface, just me and the air. The room felt different than it had before, not attentive, indifferent. It no longer adjusted to my breathing, no longer responded to my movement. It felt like I was the anomaly now, like I had entered a version of the room that wasn't built for me. I stayed as still as I could. Nothing happened. The silence didn't shift. It didn't acknowledge me. That's when it occurred to me that the room tone in the recording wasn't documenting absence. It was documenting completion, a state the room preferred. I left the room and checked the archive again. There were more files. I hadn't noticed them before because I wasn't looking for this category. They didn't contain my name, or any variation of it. No markers tying them to me at all. Just roomtone master1.wav, roomtone master2.wav, roomtone master3.wav. Each one was slightly different in length. Each one contained the room, without me. I listened to all of them. In none of them did I appear, but each one felt intentional, not static, not random, like iterations. I realized then that the room had been recording not to capture me, but to determine whether I was necessary, and it had reached a conclusion. I compared the master recordings to the ones that included me. The difference was subtle but undeniable. When I was present, the room tone fluctuated, adjusted, reacted. When I wasn't, it stabilized. Silence, without me, was smoother, more efficient. I don't think the room hates me. I don't think it wants me gone. I think it simply realized it functions better without observation, without interruption, without being listened to. And once it understood that version of itself, it started preserving it. I haven't found a recording yet where the room removes me. But I have found many where it never invited me in. That distinction matters. If you're listening to this in a quiet room, try something. Sit very still. Don't listen for the room. Let it exist without your attention. You might notice something uncomfortable, a sense that the silence doesn't need you, that it never did, and that the room left alone long enough becomes something complete, something whole, something that doesn't include you. End of recording.